white, so they with a white sweater and stripe with a about Christmas Christmas mail. Oh, that's got your phone? No.
Southampton County School Board. We have 8 of our 9 school board members present. We have 9 of our school board members present. So we certainly have a quorum since all of us are here. The next item is the approval of the agenda. I would like to add an item to the agenda. Under action items, I would like to add an item, and that would be item G, and it will be call meeting in March. So G would be scheduling a call meeting for March, or scheduling a special meeting for March. Is there another school board member who would like to add an item to the agenda?
Yes, I will. I don't know whether it would be under, well, I guess it is action, because it does need to be, communication.
So, okay. So it's information or is it action? Ms. Bradley?
Communicate action.
Okay, so we
Yeah,
added, okay, we had added G, schedule a special meeting for March, and H, communication. Is-
Also on that, I need to have someone request for facilities.
Okay, so we have an I, a request for facilities. Is there another school board member who would like to add an item to the agenda?
Dr. Goodwin, I'd like to add an matter to closed session, student matter.
Okay, so under closed session, Ms. Bunn is adding an O, that would be O, a student matter. Is there another board member who would like to add an item to the agenda? So do we have a motion then to approve the agenda as amended? We have a motion by Ms. Bradley. We have a second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. You had in your school board documents the minutes from our February 14th regular meeting, our February 14th regular meeting, our February 24th work session, as well as the minutes from the public hearing on March the 7th. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? So could we have a motion then to approve the minutes as presented? We have a motion by Mr. Smith. A second by Mr. Scott. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The minutes of all three of those meetings have been approved. We're down to recognitions. So the first recognition would be the Superintendent Student of the Month for Dr. Shannon.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight it gives me great pleasure to have our building principals recognize our Students of the Month. These students have displayed excellence in our schools and community. As always, I'm extremely proud of our students for exemplifying excellence at Southampton County Public Schools each and every day. I take great pleasure in recognizing these students since they have demonstrated remarkable citizenship and are role models for their peers. Principals.
Well, I see Mr. Bell coming forward. Are you first, Mr. Bell?
Dr. Francis.
Apron first, always.
They're coming in alphabetical order this week.
Dr. Francis.
I would like to ask Chelsea Epps to come up, please. Chelsea is new to us this year. She's coming from Emporia. But let me tell you, she is a model student. She has a special trait of always speaking to everyone. She gets out of that car and you see the smile. I'm just starting to see the smile because we've been wearing masks. But she is always happy. And she's kind of like my unofficial bathroom monitor. She always will come and tell me that there are paper towels in the sink or on the floor. But she doesn't stop there. She says, I cleaned it up. So she keeps capering clean. I'm very, very proud of her. And she just got inducted to the National Junior Honor Society. Next, I would like to ask Austin Ellis up. And she is, Chelsea and Austin are both fourth graders. Hvac. I was his mom's Girl Scout leader years ago. And Austin is a gifted student and daily, and when I say daily, I mean every single day, Austin will tell me, I love my school. Or he'll tell me, I love coming to school. And when he got out of the car on Monday, he goes, I'm so glad to be at school. So he really, truly is dedicated to Catherine Elementary. And if I could tell you what he told me when I told him he was going to be here tonight, it just made my heart smile. It was so, so sweet. And Austin just got inducted to the National Junior Honor Society and the Junior Beta Club. Wow. So Austin did really good.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Susan Fowler, principal at Meharin Elementary School, and it is my pleasure to honor Eli Crawford. So Eli, if you'll come up and join me. I will say Eli's such a special person. He's not sharing the spotlight with anybody, so he gets all of our honor from Meharin tonight. So we chose Eli tonight. Come on over here, sir. All right, so we chose Eli. He's a 5th grader at Meharin, and we're usually asked to kind of represent, a special character trait. But Eli has so many of the character traits that just exemplify our Meharin, our school pledge that we say every day, and our motto of Meharin Soars. Because he is certainly safe, he is accountable, he's just he's just respectful. All of our mottos. So he is also on our safety patrol. So he kind of leads our safety patrol, his 5th grade. And then also he takes it upon himself with either Ms. Davis or Ms. Henson at the end of every day to lower our flag. And I get the honor sometimes to see him outside the window when they go to do that, because I'm kind of getting everybody for dismissal. And he's so reverent and respectful when he does it. So he's so kind-hearted that I wanted it to be sure to acknowledge Eli for all the great things he does. He is a great role model for our younger Eagles, and I'm just so excited to have him in our school. So congratulations, Eli.
Okay, I get to recognize 2 special individuals. First one is Mitchell Gray. Come on up. Give him a round of applause as he's coming up. So my 5th graders did the African American Wax Museum presentations, and the teachers nominated 2 students, and both of those students are here today. And Mitchell was recognized. He was Bubba Wallace, and he actually embodied him. He had his full racing helmet on. He went through and did a great job presenting to everybody. And what these students did is they presented to every single student, pre-K through 5th grade. And they had a little button, and they had to step on the button, and what they did is they got to go through their whole entire presentation to each and every single one of the students. So that can be a little nerve-wracking, and he was recognized by all of the teachers, and they just said that he did a fantastic job. So everybody give him a round of applause. My next one is Miss Germany Carr. Come on up, Sophie. Now, she also did the same thing, but she was Whitney Houston. And so she went through and she gave the most phenomenal presentation. The little kids were all just in love with her demonstration, and she was also recognized by her teachers. She has been a phenomenal Nottoway Cougar the whole time that she's there, and I'm just so happy to recognize her, and I just celebrate her because this is her last year with me. So thank you for sharing your babies with me. Good evening, everyone. I'm Miss Rayleigh,
And I'm Ms. Walker.
and we're the co-principals at Riverdale Elementary School. And the first student we would like to recognize this evening is Miss Emma Council. Emma, can you come forward, please? She might need a little help with all of the metal around her neck.
Miss Emma here is a second grade student at Riverdale who makes straight A's. Not only is she working hard in the classroom, but she's also working very hard outside the classroom. She is competing in gymnastics. She practices her gymnastics daily. She goes to competitions outside of the county, outside of the state, and we're just so very proud of her for being able to handle her straight A's and her extracurricular activities. And she's also an entrepreneur. Her and her mom have a Scentsy business that they sell Scentsy products. So Miss Emma has learned how to be a businesswoman, and she comes and practices her skills with us, and so she helps raise money for her gymnastics. So we're so proud. Emma, show them your favorite medal that you won on bars. Isn't that cool? So tonight we would like to recognize Emma for her work inside and outside the classroom. Congratulations, Emma. We're so very proud of you. All right, our next one is Mr. Darnell Ace Lee. Ace, as we call him, is a charmer. When Ace came to us for his testing as a rising pre-K student, we have a teacher at our school whose last name is Lee. He walked over to the mailbox and he says, "That's my name." And he spelled his name, so he could read his name on the mailboxes. He too is very active in school. He steals everyone's heart. He's a model student outside of school. He's very athletic and is a great role model there as well. So we are pleased to celebrate Mr. Darnell Ace Lee Jr. today.
Good evening. Southampton Middle School would like to recognize John Ray. Is John here tonight? All right, John is an 8th grader at Southampton Middle School. He's a member of the National Junior Honor Society. He's a member of the Boy Scouts of America. He helps out with Bible study at his church. He loves hunting and fishing in his spare time. You guys can see John on the board there. All right. Next, we'd like to recognize Ms. Skylar Hamlin. Skylar, if you come up. Skylar is an 8th grader at Southampton Middle School. She's a member of the National Junior Beta Club and the National Junior Honor Society. She's captain of the JV cheering squad. She's presently a member of the track team. She's done the school announcements on many occasions. Outside of school, Skylar loves to praise dance, and she serves the community by helping with the Down the Middle Foundation. She is on the principal's list at Southampton Middle School and honor roll. Excellent job, Ms. Skylar Hamlin.
Good evening. It gives me great pleasure to recognize 2 students from Southampton High School. The first is Kelsey Lane Jarrett. Kelsey is not with us this evening because she is working, but she is an accomplished junior at Southampton High School, an honor student, varsity multi-sport athlete, as well as a nursing student and a dual enrollment student at Camp Community College. She is a student ambassador, member of the Future Farmers of America and the Equity Committee, and was recently recognized and penned as the valedictorian of the first Pharmacy Tech program at Southampton High School. She is an outstanding athlete, yes. She's played for the past 3 years on the varsity softball team and volleyball team and was a former JV basketball player. Kelsey was recognized with her volleyball team as regular season champions, district tournament champions, and she was awarded second team all-district for the fall 2021 season. She has been a competitive player for travel softball, and most recently she completed her course training and is now an umpire with the Southampton and Suffolk baseball and softball leagues. Wow. Kelsey is focusing on completing her studies and earning her associate's degree at Camp Community College in May of 2023, and plans to graduate and continue at Old Dominion University in the medical field. And she is the proud daughter of Kelly and Michael Jarrett. Again, she's not here because she's working, but her mother is here. Would you please come up and receive her award? Our next student is Mr. Joshua Jiggett. Joshua is a senior honors student at Southampton High School. He is a humble and well-rounded young man who is well-respected among his peers and teachers. He is a role model for younger students and has outstanding work ethics. He is a student athlete and played basketball 4 years. As a senior, he was a starting point guard and captain of the Big Red Indian team. He is also a member of the National Honor Society. Joshua spends his free time at Churchland North Baptist Church, where he enjoys working with the youth ministry. Proverbs 10:22 is his favorite scripture. He enjoys spending time with his family outside of school. In addition to loving the game of basketball, he likes to hunt and fish. Joshua describes himself as a relaxed person and hopes to continue his education at the collegiate level with plans of studying real estate. Joshua is the son of Melvin and Amy Jiggett. Would you please stand? Congratulations, students and parents.
Good afternoon. Parents, would you please stand when I call your school, because just as Dr. Blunt said, it would not have been possible without you. Capron Elementary parents, please stand. We can give you a round of applause, please. Capron Elementary. Awesome. Thank you. Nottoway Elementary, please stand. The parents of Nottoway Elementary, thank you. Meharan Elementary, please stand. Congratulations. Riverdale Elementary, please stand. Southampton Middle School, parents, please stand. Congratulations. Southampton High School, please stand. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Parents, please allow your children to please take a picture before they leave. If you have not done so, just as our star leaving out there now, going to get theirs taken, please follow suit and do the same. Thank you so very much. Principals, make sure that they come. But before you leave, we have one more recognition that we would like to share. Even though we have the younger children, but this is what they have to look forward to. The academics and the sports are just phenomenal. And we're excited tonight to recognize some very exceptional young men. And we would like for Mr. Travis Parker, the football coach, and his football coaching staff to please come forward to introduce to us the best of the best. Let's give them a round of applause as they come forward this afternoon.
Good evening. This is an honor for me to be able to stand up and present to you some of the accomplishments of these 5 young men that are going on to the next level to play football. My name is, for those who don't know, my name is Travis Parker. I'm the head football coach here at Southampton High School. And with us tonight, we have our coaching staff, some of our coaching staff here, Mr. Tim Dawson, Mr. Greg Scott, Mr. Xavier Scott. And we are here to present to you the 5 young men who have already gotten the opportunity to be able to earn a position or an opportunity to play at the next level. But before I present them to you, I will tell you that this accomplishment is to be celebrated by us all, because it is not something that I have done. It's not something that just this coaching staff have done. This is an accomplishment of the school system, because at one point in time, we just had the little ones at the elementary school acknowledged. At one point in time, they were at that level. So it starts there. So we give shout out to the elementary, the middle school, the high school level, everybody at that level, the school board staff under supervision of our superintendent, our school board member, the community had a big part in this, and last but not least, the parents. So this is an accomplishment of teamwork that we are applauding ourselves on and patting all of ourselves on the back of. So I'll start with Mr. Javen Johnson. Will you come on up? Javen Johnson has quite a few accolades. He played football as well as basketball. He has all district honors in football. He has all region honors, and he was honorable mention at the state level. He will be taking his talents to Hampton University, where he'll play on the defensive line. And I tell you that he's an outstanding young man, very, very humble, and has been a pleasure to coach. So, Mr. Javen Johnson. Okay. All right. The next person I would like to come up is Mr. Daquan Boone. Yeah. Daquan Boone plays basketball, football, and throws the disc and the shot put in track. So a 3-sport athlete. But he'll be playing on the offensive line at Virginia Union University. Very fine young man. He's done very well in his academics. So we're looking for some great things out of him, and some big things, just as big as he is. Next, we have Mr. Jimmy Reed. Jimmy also is a 2-sport athlete, played basketball and football for Southampton. Loves football to death. So that's all. I think he really studies whenever he's not doing his academics. But he will be playing at Virginia Union University as well, playing fullback, and they are very excited about him coming up there and playing as well. Let me go back to Daquan. If there's any relatives of Daquan, please, if you could stand. And then also any relatives or family members of Jimmy Reed, his mother. Next one is Dexter Ivy. Again, Dexter is a 3-sport athlete, baseball, basketball, and football. He will be taking his talents to Elizabeth City State University. I'm very excited about that. Very fine young man. I tell you, he is a person that really sacrifices for the team. On the offensive side of the ball, he's really a tight end, but we needed some help on the offensive line, and he came and said, coaches, if that's where you need for me to be, for the team to be able to be at its best, that's what I do. So he's a guy that will sacrifice. So he's being blessed based on his sacrifice, so excellent job. Last but not least is Mr. Lamari Joyner. Lamari Joyner will be taking his talents to Elizabeth City State University, where he has the opportunity to play defensive back. Also, Lamari is an excellent scholar here at Southampton High School. He has one of the highest GPAs that is on the team. If I'm not mistaken, somewhere around 3.9, something like that. So, excellent young man. Also, he's a 3-sport athlete: track, basketball, and football. So, also, I didn't have Dexter Ivy's relatives, if you can stand, his mom, sister. And then also Lamari Joyner's relatives. They have done a great job with these young men, and we are super proud and blessed to be able to have 5 young men to be able to go out and play football and be able to earn an opportunity where they can play at the next level, it can help their education, and to go on and do a lot of different things in life to make us proud, and I know that they will do just that. So I thank you all, the community, school board, the school, all the schools represented here, the coaching staff, their teammates. Like I said, we all should be celebrating and patting ourselves on the back, because this is a product of a total teamwork. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Here in Southampton County Public Schools, we enjoy recognizing and celebrating success. So on behalf of the entire school board, I do want to extend our congratulations to all the students who were recognized tonight. And I do want to thank all the parents, family members, and community members for supporting these students and for supporting Southampton County Public Schools. So we'll give those students and their families a few minutes to leave. And we have, and I think there's a photo opportunities going on. We do have another very important recognition tonight. So Dr. Shannon.
Thank you, Dr. Goodwin. Tonight, we would also like to recognize one of our employees, Ms. Linda Adams. We would like to recognize Ms. Linda Adams for 40 years of service to Southampton County Public Schools.
I'm most grateful to have the opportunity to serve this past. Thank you, and I wish you very well.
Thank you. Ms. Adams is the supervisor of career technical education here at Southampton County Public Schools, or at Southampton High School, and she will be retiring at the end of March. So Ms. Adams, we recognize you and we thank you for all of your years of service to Southampton County Public Schools. And best wishes, and please keep in touch with us. The next item on the agenda is the public comment period. We are going to move now to public comments. Although Virginia law does not require us to hold a public comment period, we choose to do so because we believe it is important for us to hear from our community members. The Southampton County Public School Board values public participation and recognizes the importance of receiving public input on issues affecting the education of the children in our county. The public comment period is a time for citizens and residents to express their views in order to inform the Southampton County School Board. Therefore, if you are a speaker, please do not expect board members to respond to comments or to answer questions during the public comment period. We encourage public comments and ask that you respectfully follow the guidelines. Individuals should limit their comments to 3 minutes. We do have a visible timer so that you will be apprised of the amount of time you have left. We also ask that you address your comments to the board and not to other audience members or to the superintendent. And I will call the speakers up in the order in which they signed up. So the first speaker is Mr. George Collins.
Good evening. On January 10th, the meeting that y'all had, your regular meeting, a presentation was made. The presentation outlined a communication plan between the parents and the school district. Personally, I was glad to see this because that's something that I had spoken about on several occasions that I felt like was a lack of communication. I was also glad to see the chairman ask the presenter how this information would be shared with parents. But maybe a better question would have been when. Because 2 months have passed and phone calls are still going unanswered, emails are still going unreturned, and the communication plan has yet to be communicated to the parents. And as my 6th grader pointed out the other day, that's an example of irony. He had just learned that in English class not too long ago. So I challenge each of you tonight to ask this question, or these questions. When will the communication plan be presented to the parents, and when will it be followed? I think the parents deserve at least that much to know what's in the communication plan and to have a date of when it goes into effect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins was the only person to sign up for public comment period, so now we're down to matters from previous meetings. The first order is the BSBA 2022 Tidewater Regional Spring Forum. Thus far, Ms. Bunn, Ms. Bradley, and I have signed up for the Tidewater Regional Forum. If there are other board members who are interested in attending, please let Ms. Artis know so that she can get you registered for that training, that event. The next item is an update to the response from the letter that we sent to Mr. Michael Johnson. If you remember at our last meeting, we selected 3 possible dates to have a joint meeting with the Southampton County Board of Supervisors. We asked Dr. Shannon to communicate those available dates to the Southampton County Board of Supervisors, and we do have a response from Mr. Mike Johnson. The response says, "Dear Dr. Shannon, thank you for your letter of February 17th suggesting potential dates for a joint meeting of the Board of Supervisors and School Board to discuss the draft resolution in support of parental rights. At its regular session on February 22nd, after discussing your suggestions, the board moved to postpone this joint meeting until such time as the legislature has acted on House Bill 1093, and if adopted, after the Southampton County School Board expresses its intentions with regard to a cultural competency training requirement for teachers and other licensed school board employees. As you may be aware, this legislation conditions the requirement of such training upon action by the local school board, but only after providing 30 days advance written notice of and holding a public hearing regarding the adoption and implementation of such policies. With kind personal regards, I'm sincerely Michael W. Johnson, County Administrator." So we do not have a date to have a joint meeting with the Board of Supervisors, and we will await information from them concerning when and if they choose to meet with us. And you do have in your packet a copy of House Bill 1093, as well as a copy of the letter from Mr. Johnson. So any board comments either about the VSBA meeting that's coming up on April the 25th, the Tidewater Regional Forum, or about the response from the Southampton County Board of Supervisors? Mr. Worsham?
I see that word postponement in the letter.
Yes.
Does that mean that it's postponed to another date that we're going to meet with them? Does that mean we're not going to meet with them and see what the legislation from the General Assembly said?
I think it's postponed until they get back in touch with us again concerning the joint meeting.
So, okay. So possibilities we will have it, is that correct?
It's possible, but we don't have a date, and we'll wait to hear from the Board of Supervisors before we do make any additional plans. Any other comments from board members? The next item is an update from the Facilities Committee. That committee is chaired by Ms. Lynn Bradley. So, Ms. Bradley, give us an update.
Yes, we do have an update. We will start the tour of the buildings this week. In fact, Wednesday, the 16th, we will be at Capron at 1 o'clock. So we have got dates down here once or twice a week that we will be doing this until the 1st of June. So, like I said, as of tonight, we will be in Capron Wednesday at 1. And we will start going through the buildings.
Thank you. Any questions, comments about the work of the Facilities Committee? So then we're down to action items. The first action item is the financial report and payment of bills. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Carr is on her way to the podium to make that presentation to the board. Ms. Carr?
Good evening, all. If I can bring your attention to the preliminary expenditure report for the month of February. As you can see, our revised budget is at $34,028,094.71. The actual expenditures through February 28th total $18,056,697.69. The balance for the operating budget as of February 28th was $15,971,397.02. Please note that as of the date of this report, 53.06% has been expended from the operating budget. The February bill list has been attached to the agenda for the board's approval tonight. Are there any questions?
Any questions from Ms. Carr?
Make a motion to pay the bills as presented.
Have a motion by Mr. Pope.
Second.
Is that a second by Mr. Worsham? Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
The school board budget committee has been working with the superintendent to prepare the proposed operating budget for fiscal year 23. The committee and the superintendent have prepared a needs-based budget. So at this time, Dr. Shannon will give us a summary of that budget request. So Dr. Shannon?
Yes. In your package tonight, you will find the fiscal year 2022-2023 proposed school operating budget for your approval. The total requested amount for the operating budget is $38,528,859. This amount is an increase of $4,000,000 $876,681 over the current approved budget. We are requesting local funding of $14,262,858, which is an increase of $1,695,920 over current local funding. This budget document includes the line item budgets for all programs. Federal programs budgets have been updated to represent the latest information we have available. The total proposed budget, including all programs, is $42,653,300. And Ms. Carr, would you go over some of the highlights of the budget?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Some of the highlights of the budget include a minimum 5% pay increase for all employees, an 8% increase for the classified employees that were not affected by the minimum wage increase, 7 additional teachers at Southampton High School, 1 additional custodian at Southampton High School, increasing the bachelor's degree substitute pay to $100 per day. Also adding $163,535 for our OT, PT, and speech services. We added $224,140 for the increase in health insurance. We added $230,000 for a 40% increase in the fuel cost. We also added $157,750 for an increase in our overall operational cost. The last item of $1,932,265 we added for school construction grant funds that's being provided by the state with no local match required.
Mr. Pope chairs the School Board Budget Committee, so any additional comments, Mr. Pope?
I said from the beginning when we started, this was a budget of needs. We kind of eliminated the wants over the first 2 years we had. We're trying to be realistic with our request. I know the reason we still have an increase is because of some big items you just mentioned, but things we can't control, health insurance increase. This seems to happen every year. We had an increase in minimum wage this year that affected the budget. We're trying to address staff shortage in the high school with this fuel cost. Everybody's very aware of fuel costs. How many buses of cars we have on the road every day? That's a realistic increase. And one that I thought probably the most important was salary increases for staff is in there. That's a big ticket item also. We're not asking for anything new. We're basically trying to maintain what we have so we can have a successful school year. I like to think the people that serve on the budget committee with me, Ms. Bond, Mr. Smith, along with Ms. Carr and Dr. Shannon, we spent a lot of hours working on this budget together. And it's not always easy decisions, especially when you start cutting stuff that you feel like you probably need. But we get through it every year. I do want to thank them for the time they spend working on this also.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pope, and thank you, Mr. Smith and Ms. Bond, and of course, Dr. Shannon and Ms. Carr. So do you have any questions about the proposed operating budget? Do we have a motion to approve? I have a motion by Ms. Reynolds, a second by Mr. Scott, to approve the proposed operating budget for fiscal year 23. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. So now we know that the state budget has not been finalized, so we know that we will have to come back and look at the budget again once we get the state numbers and the county numbers. We have approved the proposed operating budget for the 22-23 school year. We're now looking at overnight field trip request. The first overnight field trip request is from the Southampton football program, and they want to go to Airfield 4-H Center The purpose is to expose our scholar athletes to an overnight retreat and to participate in team building activities. And that event would take place July the 29th and 30th. And you have the itinerary included in your school board documents and in discussion. So do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Was that Ms. Bunn?
Yes.
We have a motion by Ms. Bunn, a second by Mr. Worsham. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The second request for an overnight field trip comes from the Future Business Leaders of America. This group is asking to go to the Hyatt Regency Reston Conference Center and Hotel. The purpose of the trip is to compete in the regional meeting, to compete and participate in the regional meeting. And this event would take place March the 31st through April the 3rd. You have additional information about this request in your school board documents. You have a tentative agenda as well as more information concerning the specific events that would take place and the specific workshops that will be offered. Any questions about this request? Or do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Worsham, a second by Mr. Scott. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So we now need to look at requests for use of school facilities. The first request comes from the Newsoms Athletic Association. They're asking to use the ball field at Maharen Elementary School. April through June of 2022 is after school for practice. They have attached their insurance information. Do you have any questions about this request? Do we have a motion to approve?
I do have a question, and I do want to make sure we don't charge them to use that field, do we? Because they actually maintain that field for the school.
We actually do charge them. Dr. Shannon can explain how the fee structure works.
Yes, if they are a nonprofit organization, then they only pay 5% of the cost. So the cost for the Newsoms Athletic Association to utilize Maharen Elementary School's field from April through June of 22, Monday through Thursday from 5 to 7 is $340 if they're nonprofit.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to approve? Have a motion by Ms. Reynolds, a second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The second request comes from the Newsoms T-ball. They're asking to use the Southampton Middle School practice field Mondays from 6 to 7. Do you have any dates, Dr. Shannon?
They do. It's Monday, March 1st through May 21st, and actually, I think of the request it said from 5:30 to 6:30, but it's actually from 6 until 7, yes. And the amount for them, if they're a nonprofit, is $44.25.
Any discussion on the request? Or do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Was that Mr. Smith? No. Who did Mr. Worsham? Do we have a motion, Mr. Worsham? Who did the second? The second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I asked to add to the agenda a meeting for March, an additional meeting for March. Usually we have a meeting in the spring as we start planning for the upcoming school year. Usually at that planning meeting, we look at data And this is data in terms of student performance, data in terms of expenses. So oftentimes we just call it a data meeting because it is a data-driven meeting where we get updates in terms of student performance, student success, places where we might see gaps in instruction, non-instructional needs, as well as data concerning expenses, expenditures. So if you would, please, if you look at your calendars, is there a day during the last week in March that we can hold that meeting? Like March 28, 29?
Yes.
Does the 28th work for most of us? That's a Monday, March 28th. And we meet at 6.
This is gonna be a retreat type.
Say again?
This is gonna be a retreat type meeting. Typically do retreats and kind of look at some data, potential change in programs or things for the upcoming year.
Correct.
A retreat.
Right. I said 6. Does the time work for you? So then March 28th at 6 p.m., we will have a special meeting, a retreat planning meeting. But a special meeting of the Southampton County School Board will take place at 6 p.m. then on March 28th, if we have a motion to do so.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Ms. Bradley.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Scott. Any discussion on the motion? Then we will have a special meeting on March the 28th at 6 p.m. And thank you. What day was that? Was it 22nd, you said? Of April? Of March?
I think it was for us to meet with the board of supervisors. Those were proposed dates. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Because I don't have any other dates on that. Okay, so then that was the item that I asked to add to the agenda. So item H under action items was Ms. Bradley. Ms. Bradley?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to address the communication issue. We had incident this morning at the middle school where parents got real upset and couldn't figure out what was going on with all the law enforcement and Virginia State Patrol and all that at the school this morning. I called Dr. Shannon, and she told me what was going on, and that she wasn't aware of it. So, Sheriff's Department, little communication. But anyway, we had parents to call the
Any comments from other board members? Yeah. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, I'd like to respond. Anytime that I'm aware of an issue, as soon as I'm made aware of the issue and we have things under control, I make parents aware of the issue. This morning, I was not aware that the sheriff's department was going to be here, nor that they were going to have increased police presence. So I had to find out what was going on first before I could relate anything to any parents. Now, we did have an incident to occur on Friday. Friday, it was after school, possibly about 5 o'clock. The young man who made the comment had not been to school in 2 weeks, nor was the child here today. We did update or make the sheriff's department aware of the incident. They went to the child's home. Nothing was found. The child was cleared from mental health professionals. So I had no reason to believe that, we would have increased police presence here today. I did not know. But as soon as I was made aware, I did a call and I also sent out a message like I always do every time that I'm made aware of any type of threat. And so I followed protocol. But I will say that I did spend some time trying to determine what was going on and if anything else had occurred for me, for them to be here. Because I was wondering, was the child here? Did something else happen? Was there an accomplice? I mean, what was going on? Why was everyone here? And, when I talked with the sheriff's department, we got everything straight and we appreciate them being here. This is the first time ever that they have not notified me in advance. First time ever. They always notify me in advance. And we always usually send out a joint letter letting everyone know what's going on. But this morning, it didn't happen.
And that I understand, because when I talked with you this morning, that was what you had told me. And that I understand. My thing is, and I understand too, that we get, like at the middle school this morning, there was probably 1,500 parent calls there. And the secretaries just had not had a chance to call people back. And I think every school now has a Facebook page. And if they could just put it on the page, we have not had a chance to call, but nothing's going on, just let parents know that everything was okay. I guess is what I'm trying to say. And even those that called that did not get a return call, just put it out there, We don't have a chance, we had 100 and some phone calls this morning. We don't have time to call everybody back. Everything's okay.
Ms. Brown, I believe will remind us of when this morning.
And a phone call. I did a reminder.
Okay, but see, I didn't get do we get the reminder? Huh?
If you sign up for it, you do.
And I think I also did an all call.
I
I did an all call, because I remember doing an all call from the parking lot of the middle school. I did an all call to all parents of the middle school and high school.
Okay, so you got a call?
But I did, which I don't have a child here, so that's understandable, but I didn't know about the mine, I didn't, never sign up for that, so. But that's, I was just putting it back out there.
Well, thank you so much, and I do apologize for any inconvenience that it caused me.
Thank you. And item I, Mrs. Pope, facility request.
Yes, I have a request for some facilities for down in Middle Foundation. I have the application and the signatures and the insurance. Would like to use the baseball field at Riverdale to practice on Monday, Wednesday evenings from March 21st to May 18th. I'd like to get that approved if possible.
Dr. Shannon, okay. Were you aware of this?
I wasn't, but, check.
Well, Dr. Shannon says that, you want to explain?
Which school is it? Which school?
Which field?
Riverdale. They only don't have anyone.
What's that?
Are we sure the field is available? We were trying to determine if anybody else is using the field at this time. And Dr. Shannon was saying she doesn't have a calendar in front of her in terms of whether or not the facility is available at these, at the time they request.
Okay, I got administrators at the school to sign.
Well, you know, I suggest we give this to Dr. Shannon, and let Dr. Shannon respond.
Well, I wonder if time is of the essence, if it's for baseball use, could we make the vote tonight, just saying if the field is available, if we can give it approval, just so they won't have to wait until the next meeting? I think it's probably. So could we
Well,
do that, make an approval?
I don't remember us approving anybody else's use facility.
We approved two tonight. We approved two tonight.
I'm talking about at Riverdale.
Oh, for Riverdale?
We were approved the middle school back here in Mahern.
Dr. Shannon, you comfortable?
I think the middle school, I think Riverdale is open, yes. The
So-
only thing is we normally calculate the, fees, but we can do that and, make you all aware. I know
What I'd like for you
downtown
to
is
do,
a nonprofit.
calculate the fees, send that to me along with the two for Newsom, please.
Okay, got it.
Directly to me, all three.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So if we could,
Provisional acceptance.
provisional, is that your motion?
I'll make a motion. If the field is available, we'd like to approve the use of the facility.
Okay, so we have a motion by Ms. Bond, a second by Ms. Bradley to provisionally approve the use of Down the Middle Foundation to use the, to use the field at Riverdale. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. So we are now at informational items. And the first informational item has to do with the use of temporary tutors and paraprofessionals. So Dr. Shannon is going to explain to us what that program is all about. So Dr. Shannon?
Yes, ma'am. Excuse me, we actually have a short presentation regarding the temporary tutors, and Ms. Gillette is going to give the presentation. But just as a preference before she gets started, we have decided that we do need temporary tutors as well as additional paras to work with our students in the schools. And the purpose for that is for us to try to provide remediation for students who have expedited retakes, for us to provide small group instruction, for us to increase motivation and self-esteem, and also to enhance instruction due to unfinished learning during COVID-19. And Mrs. Gillette will go through the specifics of our temporary tutoring program.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Dr. Shannon, board members, all present. Good evening. So I do have the presentation, as Dr. Shannon said, with before and after school tutoring with temporary teachers and paraprofessionals. I know we've set up a meeting to do an official sharing of data, but I do have some data in here to support the needs for tutoring in all of our schools. So I just wanted to start off with the SOL Fall Growth Assessment baseline data. And this is when the students took the SOL, usually the SOL is anywhere from about 50 questions, and they did a half SOL in the fall, grades 3 through 8 in math and reading. These vertical scale scores are going to be compared to the spring 2021 scores to determine student growth. The VDOE provides 8 ranges to categorize these student scores, and I'm going to share this with you in just a moment. If a student is in the range of 1 to 4 on the fall assessment, it indicates that they are below level, that they need additional support. If they score in the ranges 5 through 8, it indicates that they're on level or above level. So as I move forward, I have some notes on that I just told you about. This is Cape Breton Elementary, and you'll see that this is math for grades 3, 4, and 5. As I mentioned, the ranges are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can see that we have all of our students were below the range, and we did not have any in 5 through 8. Same with 4th grade, we only had 4 that were in the above range, and for 5th grade, we had 10 that were in the above range. And then we did a pie chart just to give an idea, so you can see that about 83% of our kids weren't ready. And we do need to talk about how, especially in math, when our students had virtual learning, how difficult it is for the students to have math online and not having someone there with them and showing them step by step. Doing it online virtually is so hard, and our kids had a year or more of that. As we look at Capron's reading, you can see our reading fared a little bit better. If you look at the pie chart, you'll see it was about half and half. Half of ours, the students require additional support, and we have half that are prepared for grade level content or higher. And the same with Meharry, we move right along, and you can see the scale score. For math, you can see that 86% of the students do need additional support, where 13, almost 14% of our students were on grade level. For Meharry, with our reading, we have about the same information we had before, maybe a little less of our kids were ready, about 56%, as compared to our 43% that are ready. At Nottoway, looking at our math first, you can see that once again, when we look at our pie chart, that we have about 63% that weren't ready and 37 that are. When we go to the reading, again, half and half. We go on to Riverdale, and this is their math, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade again. And with their math, you can see that 83% were not prepared, and 17% are. And when you go to the reading, again, it's kind of like the others, you have about 50-50 there. As we move on to the middle school, you can see much larger numbers, of course, because they are larger. And you can see that in math, 82.6% need additional support, and 17% were on or above grade level. When we get to the reading, we see that maybe a little half and half, a little more need additional support, with 53%, and then 48% for those that are ready. So then that is from the VDOE, that is your SOL testing. Again, they were looking at ranges. I do have the ranges with me that talks about the growth that will be made from fall to spring, how many points they need to move up to show that growth. The next one we wanted to talk about was the MAP testing, which is the measure of academic progress. And this is like the vertical scale score. We give the MAP test in the fall. We give it again in the mid-year, we show the growth. They'll take it again in the spring, and we'll show growth from there. So we actually have growth from the beginning year to the end of the year, but also we'll have growth from mid-year to end of the year. So what you'll see here, where the students were tested in October 2021, and they were tested again at the end of January into a lot of February. You know, January we had many COVID incidents at the schools, and so we had students that came in and had to make up. So we went into a great deal of February. So as you can see here, what this shows you is that we have 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade here, and you can see that low achievement or low growth. And what you see when it says fall, mid-year, what that is telling you is that 12 students that took the test in the fall made small growth. 2 students that took it in the fall had high achievement in the fall, but made very minimal growth. We had 7 students that had low achievement at the beginning, but then they made big growth, 7 of those kids. And then we had 4 that were high and stayed high and went higher. This test is made so that it's not particularly a grade level test. If you're in 3rd grade and you start taking the test and the answers, you get too difficult and you miss a certain amount, it starts going down so the teacher knows where your place is. In regards to going up, it will keep going until you hit where you can't go anymore. So if you're in the 3rd grade and you score on a 6th grade level, we know where you're at. So we did each one of those for Cameron Elementary for math and for reading. We also have Maharan, and as you can see, I'm just looking at their reading. They had 12 kids that had low achievement and low growth when they retook the test. We had five that had high achievement. When they took it, they had very minimal growth. And then we had 9 students that had low achievement at the beginning, but made high growth. And then we had 4 that had high growth, and continued to. And you can see that in 3rd, 4th, and 5th as it moves along. And so you'll see each one of those schools here. I don't have to read everyone to you. And Riverdale, and of course they're a larger school, you have a larger amount. And I'm just going to look at their 5th grade reading that they have here. They had 26 kids that were low and continue to be low, 12 that were high but went lower, 6 that gained greatly, and 6 that continue to be high. And then we have the middle school, again, 6, 7, and 8. This is their mid-year growth data for math and for reading. I don't know how Caitlin got to there. Oh, I know what it is. It's math. Now it's going into math. I thought it was going to go
Actually, Ms. Gillette, you can move ahead and.
Can I move ahead? Okay, yes, ma'am. You get the idea what I'm talking about.
You've established the need, because as I shared with Dr. Shannon, because those testing numbers were so low, they certainly established a need for this program, but I think that we need not be alarmed at those numbers because of the small number of students who took the test. So you've established the need, so let's hear about the plan.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the exciting part.
Oh, and just, I wanted to share the high school data too, just to have everyone exposed. Overall, these are our scores for social studies, science, math, and English. And the next chart you have is by content or by subject. So then we move into the actual tutoring plan. And you'll see that the purpose of our plan is to have temporary tutors and paras before and after school, and then have paras in the building as well during the day. But we want to decrease the learning loss from COVID-19. We want to individualize instruction and feedback to master strands in the standards of learning. We want to remediate for those expedited retakes, provide small group instruction. We want to increase the motivation and self-esteem of our students, and we also want to improve their study habits. We want to provide an extra boost of confidence for our students going into this test. Because if they're below level and they're taking a test and they don't feel like they're going to be successful, they need someone telling them that they're going to do well, that they're going to do the best they can, they're doing all that they can to succeed. For our overview, the tutoring program will take place on campus of each school for elementary and secondary. There are different times. Capron's is going to be in the morning from 7:45 to 8:45, along with Maharan 7:45 to 8:45. Nottaway's is going to be in the afternoon from 4 to 5, and Riverdale is going to be 7:45 to 8:45. The middle school and the high school are both going to be from 2:45 to 4:45. When choosing the elementary, when they chose which times they were going to use, they polled their teachers to see when they would be available to do the tutoring, so that's why we have 3 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, based on teacher availability. So this program is geared towards specific students and their needs, and it's been recommended based on the data, as you've seen some of the data. It's not limited to PALS, but we do use that for 3rd grade. We do use informal phonics inventories, weekly assessments, benchmark testing, the math, as you've just seen, teacher observations, the fall SLL data. Students that have not passed SLLs in the past, even though we know that's been 2 years ago, they did take it in the spring, but we do look at that as well. We do look at students who have not passed SLLs that are required to graduate. We're going to make sure that they receive those tutoring services. And all recommendations for tutoring were submitted to principals and were approved at the central office instructional level. For our personnel, hired teachers and paraprofessionals, they'll work with students for each session during the entire tutoring period. This includes paraprofessionals and special ed teachers to support the needs of any special ed students we have in tutoring. Bus drivers will be tasked with driving the students extended routes and additional routes as needed to get them home from tutoring. We look at the number of students, and this list is continuing to grow. But right now we have 29 at Capron, 35 at Maheron, 51 at Nottoway, 72 at Riverdale, 69 at the middle school, and 131 at the high school. And again, what they were based on, how they were chosen. So just looking at our program, we see that 12 of our 28 third graders need extra tutoring, which is 43%. 7 out of our 26 fourth graders is 27%, and 10 out of our 36 students in fifth grade, which is 32%. And you can see that pattern moving with Maheron third grade 38%, fourth grade 22%, 28% for fifth grade. Nottoway with their third grade 69%, 34% for fourth grade, 52% for fifth grade, and finally with Riverdale, 36% of their students in third grade, 38% in fourth, and 15% in fifth grade. In sixth grade, they're still working on the sixth grade students that will be attending, but right now it is 9%, 17% for seventh grade, and 11% for eighth grade. And our high school, we did it by grade level, but that also includes, when it comes to ninth grade, all of our kids have to take World History 1 when they come in. Very rare that they wouldn't have to take that, and that is the first process of what they have to take. So you'll see 45 out of the 215 or 21%. In 10th grade, 11%, 11th grade, 26%, and then our 12th grade is that 12%, and those are the students we talked about that need that SOL to graduate. They have to have that verified credit. So we look at the teacher-created assessments that we use to scaffold tutoring instruction with our content and curriculum. An SOL strand or skill that needs to be taught, we identified by the teacher through the use of teacher and district-created assessments, and we're going to talk about our pre- and post-test in just a second. And we'll be focused on each tutoring session. Previous classroom data and informational objects like anecdotal notes, observations, will also be used to drive the tutoring instruction. Materials that are needed. We may need additional technology equipment. A lot of times that is in the library, but if we have if the student has used the iPad all day and they need it to be charged, we can handle that, or they may need to use another one that's in there. But our schools are very resourceful about their technology needs. They may need basic school supplies and PPE supplies, and we want to make sure if it's in the morning that they have their breakfast, and if it's in the afternoon, they have a snack and juice as well. The funding and the cost of the program. Funding will come from the ESSER 3 grant, and it will also come from the local operating budget of at-risk funding. The total cost of the program will be $118,781.02. And you can see here, these are the teachers for before and after school. Capron has requested 2, Maheron 5, Nottoway 8, Riverdale 4, the middle school 7, and the high school 7. And you can see that's where we got our total with FICA, which is $38,269.58. We did have some of our schools request paraprofessionals, 1 at Maheron, 2 at the middle school, and 2 at high school, which came up to $3,778.52. And then we discussed the temporary pairs that will be used during the day. Now these pairs would come in, we've done this once a couple years ago before COVID happened, and it was a big success. Those pairs would help students one-on-one, they would help them with missing assignments, or they would help in small groups while teachers met with the kids in need. So they were very helpful for the teacher in the classroom, for them to be able to service the kids that had not yet mastered those skills. And the total for these temporary pairs, which have been requested, 2 for Capron, 2 for Maheron, 3 for Nottoway, Riverdale, middle school, and high school. And that total cost is $76,732.92. When we evaluate the program for efficiency, We're going to look at individual mastering for the tutoring period to be defined as a passing score on a post-assessment. There will be a pre and post-assessment pair, kind of like you saw with the map before and after, the SOL before and after. We'll have that teacher-created assessment in Performance Matters, so that the principals will be able to see it, the central office will be able to see, and anybody that's tutoring that may not have that student will be able to see as well. To ease the analysis, the tutoring pre-test and tutoring post-test tags, they'll be the same in the assessment titles, so we'll make sure that the assessment will be easy to find. We'll label it pre-test tutoring March 2022. The district curriculum team will analyze the growth and progress data of these assessments at the culmination of the program. Our anticipated outcomes, we want to increase the core skill proficiency as defined by the VDOE curriculum framework. We want to increase specific skill of need proficiency as defined by teachers' assessments of individual student need. We want to improve engagement with course material and course achievement. And then I just wanted to share the time frame that we're looking at. Once again, we have the times listed, but we're hoping to start, if approved, we're hoping to start tutoring tomorrow. Transportation has worked really hard to set up the buses to be able to do this. And we're looking at the principals who've done an amazing job, with the teachers doing a great job as well. Everybody working together. I know we talked about that earlier, about how we all come together. And I do think that takes, when we talk about raising children, it does take a village. It takes the community, our teachers, our principals, our central office, our school board, everybody coming together to make things happen. And I think that this after-school tutoring and tutoring during the day will significantly increase our student scores.
Any questions for Ms. Gillette or for any questions for Ms. Gillette or for Dr. Shannon? You see that it's a program that's intended to assist students in their academic performance through before and after school tutoring and through having an additional paraprofessional in selected classrooms. But do you have any specific questions for either Dr. Shannon or Ms. Gillette? Thank you.
Thank you.
You have in your document the Southampton High School Program of Studies, and this is for a first read. It's nothing that we have to approve tonight in terms of this program of studies. But Dr. Shannon, you want to elaborate a little bit on what's included here?
Sure. So, included in the program of studies is a description of the classes that will be offered at the high school, as well as career clusters, graduation requirements, grading scale, all of the information that a parent would need when they are ready to make a decision about whether or not a child should take a particular class. And once again, like Dr. Gilman said, this is for a first read, and we are hoping that this document will be approved at the next board meeting.
Thank you. So it's for first read. We will look at it again. But going back to the temporary tutors and paraprofessionals, although it's here for an informational item, perhaps we do need to approve it, give the superintendent our support in terms of offering this program. So I would like for us to make an official motion to approve the temporary tutors and paraprofessionals program. So we have a motion by Ms. Reynolds, a second by Mr. Smith to approve the student achievement temporary tutors and paraprofessionals program. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. I thought there was a question. Was that a question, Ms. Roundtree? Okay. So all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. And then the SHS program of studies is for first read. It'll come back to us next month for approval, but it's for first read. The next item is the maintenance, operations, and transportation report. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Melby will give that report, our coordinator of auxiliary
Services and Transportation. Mr. Melvin?
Thanks, Dr. Shannon, Dr. Goodwin, Board, good evening, everyone. For our March report, getting right into the maintenance piece. Last month I reported that we had some, our wastewater pumps out back here went out. They were supposed to be fixed within 2 weeks, they were not. So the company has taken out the rental pumps and put their own pump in, and they're not charging us for that until the replacement pumps get here. Now, the lead time on that on Friday was anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. So, but as soon as, we're not paying for the pumps that are here right now, so that's a good thing. Hvac blower at the middle school on the second floor, we replaced that motor. It was out about a week to get that motor in, and a crane on site to get it up to the second floor. At Riverdale, we had a hot water return line that had a crack in it, and we got it the same day, replaced the section of the pipe the same day. At the middle school, we had a drain line on the second floor that backed up, causing a leak coming down to the first floor. We snaked it, we got it taken care of right now. We continue to monitor that. At Capron, on March the 3rd, Cinemark returned and completed the warranty reports on the warranty repairs, on the roof there. We continue to monitor that. We made it through this last storm, and I didn't hear anything from Dr. Francis, and I didn't see anything there today when I was there. Last board meeting that we had the nice booth lighting in here. So we had a partial power outage. On the back side of the high school here, there is a major transformer that holds 3 phases that runs the power for the high school, middle school, and the Hvac. Well, one of those phases completely blew out, and one of them was teetering. That's what gave us no power here at the high school, except for the generator, no power at the Hvac, and partial power at the middle school. Community Electric was able to get out on site, they brought the parts in, they got it switched out. I came back up and reset the breakers. It was about 10 o'clock, and we had full power back on at all 3 campuses. Within operations, the bus port headed towards the middle school, we replaced all of those lights along the walkway there. The soccer, baseball, and softball fields have all been prepped and ready for the spring season here. We've fertilized, we've seeded, they're ready to go. Working with ABM, we've had an issue with some lights here at the high school in the gym and at the middle school. They sent, about 2 weeks ago, they had somebody here with the lights. They opened up the package of the lights, had the wrong lights. So, contacted ABM, and they are replacing those, and that is in progress. Caution lights on 58. We've had multiple issues with those. So, we have contacted TAPCO, we have contacted the other distributor that we work with. One of their fixes is replacing the battery on the light because they claim that was the issue of it losing connection. So we're replacing that and also going to do an over-the-phone in-field reset of that so we make sure we're taking care of that. Building permits are in progress for the modular units to be delivered to the middle school and to Capron at the end of April. At the high school here, actually Friday, it was repaired. The pizza machines. I know the kids are missing their individualized pizzas, but the cafeteria staff was able to adjust. They continue to offer multiple choices and pizza each day while it was down. The training and introduction of Smart Mouth Pizza is underway at the middle school, and we continue to provide all of our necessary supplies to our schools each day. Transportation, we have altered the assignments of a couple of drivers at the elementary level due to a couple of drivers leaving. Our attendance has improved, which has all but eliminated the double runs and late runs that we have. We recently, last week, received 2 new applications that were fully licensed, so we're pushing to get them through. Our 1 trainee has completed their training, and we're waiting on their field road test with VDOT. And as Ms. Gillette said, we're getting ready for tutoring, which meant getting drivers straight, recruiting drivers, and getting the routes right. Working with the county, we have ordered 5 new buses that are scheduled to arrive before the beginning of next school year. And we are finalizing with our legal team the contracts with both Dominion Energy and the Department of Environmental Quality on the EV bus project. Any questions with maintenance, operations, transportation?
Any questions for Mr. Melvin? Thank you, Mr. Melvin. The next informational item is a policy matter. Our board currently does not have a design, build, and construction management contract policy. So what you have in your packet is a policy that would cover design, build, and construction management contracts. Dr. Shannon, do you want to elaborate?
Yes, what I'll say is that our architects and engineers, they have served as project managers on a few of our projects here in the division, and they are recommending that we actually enter into a design, build, and construction management contract project. But in order for us to do so, we have to have a policy in place. And so Mr. Melby has worked with our attorneys to get this policy developed. So tonight we have a policy here for a first reading. Mr. Melby, is there anything you want to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
So again, this policy is the first read. Will come back to us next month for approval. So perhaps you might have questions after you study a little bit, but this is the first read, and we'll take action next month on that policy. Thank you. The next item is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act in-school youth program. For several years, probably 15 to 16 years, Southampton County Public Schools participated in the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act in-school youth program. However, for the current school year, for the 21-22 school year, there has been a gap in service. So Dr. Shannon is going to give us more information about this gap in service concerning this Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act grant. But I do want school board members to know that no students lost funding. There were no students enrolled in the program for the current school year. So no enrolled students lost services due to this gap in service. So Dr. Shannon?
Yes, so as Dr. Goodwin stated, we have had this in-school youth grant for a number of years. And the grant is particularly for students who are skill deficient, and that is determined by the TAPE test. Students who are homeless, students who are pregnant or parenting, students who have disabilities, or students who may be English language learners. And as Dr. Goodwin stated, we basically have just had a gap in service. We had transition with personnel, and when the personnel transitioned, it was difficult for us to hire new personnel to fill the vacancy. We were able to eventually hire someone to fill the vacancy, but because she did not have any students that were carried over from one year to the next, which is a very common practice with this grant, she ended up having no students when the company or the people who owned the grant came down to look at what we were actually doing and how our services were being provided. So at that time, it was decided that the grant would be terminated, and we are calling the grant termination a gap in service because we believe that this gap exists due to COVID-19 as well as turnover in personnel and us not having any students carried over from one year to the next. I will add that during COVID-19, we did not have any students that were working. We chose for our students not to go out and work, during COVID-19. And under normal circumstances, they would have worked at some of our elementary schools or some of the local businesses, but many of the businesses were closed. And so the students were not able to work during that time. And after, and I guess I can say after COVID-19, we only had 7 students in the program, and those 7 students were seniors, and those 7 students graduated out of the program this past year. And as I stated, we didn't have any carryover, so we've had a gap in service.
Any questions, comments? Okay. So then the next item on the agenda is the COVID-19 update. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, actually, Mr. Melby has a short presentation for us on the COVID-19 update.
Thank you, Dr. Shannon. Just real quick to go through, I'm going to give you just a quick overview of what's going on in the county and then a couple changes with us here within the division. So within the county, over the last, last 90 days, we had a peak in January of 195 cases, and then about 2 weeks ago, we were down to 2 cases within the county. So our levels have really, really dropped. We are currently in a moderate level with the Virginia Department of Health. Here's our vaccination increase over the last over the last year. So we are sitting at a full vaccination within the county of 52.7%. And we have not had a confirmed case of COVID-19 within our schools since February the 23rd. And I do say we are at a moderate now because they did release one this afternoon. And I checked this just this afternoon. We did bounce back up, but as of March the 7th, we were at a community transmission of low. And with that, in accordance with the Department of Labor and Industry Standards, employees that are fully vaccinated to include their booster now have the option of wearing a mask indoors, and this standard remains in effect as long as Southampton County is in moderate or low levels, and or the Department of Labor and Industry mask mandate expires. And then also current guidance from the Virginia Department of Education and the CDC provides that students and drivers on any type of Southampton County public school transportation have the choice of wearing a mask or not. This effective date is tomorrow, March the 15th.
Thank you. You have in your packet the student enrollment information, the student teacher attendance report. But Dr. Shannon, you want to give highlights?
Sure. We currently have 2,594 students enrolled in our school division as of our February report. And when looking at the student and teacher attendance report, Nottoway is the winner for student attendance with 95.25% of the students being present. So Nottoway, let's give them a hand. And McCarran is the winner for teacher attendance with 96.74% of their teachers being present for the month.
Thank you. That's fantastic. You have in your board documents school calendars, so please read those, look at those dates, and attend events as to the extent possible. In terms of matters from the board, the Appomattox Regional Governor's School Board met last week, and probably the only matter of interest is that tuition for Appomattox Regional Governor's School will be $9,000 per student for the 22-23 school year. Appomattox is trying to make its teacher salary scale comparable to the salary scale for Chesterfield Public Schools. So they're trying to adjust their salaries, the teacher salaries, to be comparable to Chesterfield teacher salaries. So for the 21-22 year, the 22-23 year, the 23-24 year, there will be increases in tuition as the Appomattox Governor's School tries to balance those teacher pay increases. So Dr. Shannon, any other things from Appomattox?
Yes, they announced that they would have graduation on June the 3rd at 7:00 p.m. So if any of you all would like to attend their graduation, you're welcome to do so.
Thank you. So pursuant to section 2.2-3711A1 and 2 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, the board, upon a motion and a second, will convene in a closed meeting to consider personnel appointments, resignations, and stipends, non-resident applications, intra-district applications, student discipline matters, and as well as personnel matters. Do we have a motion then to convene in closed session in the library?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Ms. Bradley, a second by Ms. Roundtree. So then we will convene in the library for closed session, and after closed session, we will return to this area to take action, any actions necessary. So I will meet board members in the library in a few minutes.